I do want to bring in someone who knows this region well, who has plenty of experience in naval warfare and intelligence. Joe Fraser is retired naval intelligence officer who spent 26 years in the Navy. We also want to point out he was also a senior intelligence officer at the Naval Aviation Warfighting Development Center, that is popularly known as Top Gun, also currently running for Senate in Minnesota. Commander, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Good evening, Natasha. Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about some of these pictures. They may remind viewers of the Cuban Missile Crisis more than 60 years ago. And now, instead of facilities run by Russians, it is China reportedly setting up these bases. What does it say about the new threats that are facing the U.S. right now, once again, just 90 miles from our shores?
Well, it's an optimal location to collect against us. We have a lot of training facilities that we use down in the Gulf of Mexico and on the east coast of Florida. Major military bases to include MacDill Air Force Base, as well as the naval bases out of Pensacola and Jacksonville.
We, of course, remember the spy balloon incident moving across the U.S. What kind of information are you concerned about China collecting? What is at stake here?
So what primary activities that the Chinese can benefit from this is understanding more about our tactics, training, and procedures, our abilities that these are our training areas. This is our area where we feel relatively safe. And what they're building is, gaps in their overhead coverage, so they don't have to have persistent satellite coverage of our locations or facilities at any given period of time. And they're relying on older technology tools that allow them to be able to collect. The circular disposed antenna array that's in El Salado is old school technology. It's a passive system that can pick up a signal and geolocate it with other large facilities, either the CDAAs. And these are the things that allow them to find and fix a target at a point, space, and time. And this will help them in their targeting of our assets, especially at sea.
How should the U.S. respond to this?
Well, first of all, we can't believe anything that a communist country like China or Cuba are going to put out and say that this is nothing to see here. We need to step up our game when it comes to ensuring that we understand these threats. We're buying systems that we can use to defeat or at least obscure their collection capabilities against us. And we really need to push back against what we're seeing here as a Chinese incursion into the Western Hemisphere. This is something that, from a foreign policy perspective and from a military perspective, we need to have a stronger position from the government and pushing back against China and its incursions into our areas.
How does the Chinese activity in Cuba compare with America's military presence in Taiwan?
I'm sorry, you dropped out there. I didn't.
No problem. How does the Chinese activity in Cuba compare with the United States military presence in Taiwan?
Well, we don't have a military presence in Taiwan. We do partnership with the Taiwanese, but we have a consulate or embassy in Taiwan, but we don't have a military presence there. We do have military presence, obviously, in Japan and in Korea, which are historical from a perspective of we fought wars there. We helped liberate those areas, and we want to continue to have a forward operating presence because of forward threats like China and Russia.
Appreciate that. Appreciate the context. Commander Joe Fraser, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.